Hey there, this is Katherine Cartwright. Welcome. I've got a video featuring a layering stencil collection set from Recollections. This is from Michael's. I purchased this in my store, my local store, but it's also available online at michaels.com. And this is a 5-piece. This one is for what I would call an A2 card, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and each of these have a number at the top left, 1 through 5. Okay, and you can see them a little bit on the screen as I go by. In that top left corner, they're etched in there. And so the 5th one is the outline, and then there are the other pieces that go inside of it. Okay, so from the start, I'm going to begin with number 5. All right, I am not going to start with the first one that is labeled number 1. I'm going to start with number 5. And that is because when I first tried these, I think this is the 3rd time I've used this set, okay? The first time I did it in order because I am familiar with the stencils being layered with numbers. That's not a new thing I have seen. I have seen that before out there in the market. So I just followed what was on there. Well, it did not work well for me. And I'll show you this result at the end of the video. So hang in there. And then I did a second one to try again. And I switched it by putting the 5th stencil first. And it worked great. So basically, I have reordered them. So the 5th stencil in this pack, I'm going to use as number 1. And this experience worked for me. So if you're interested in purchasing this stencil because you like it and you get it home, you may experience the same problem that I have. Okay, so I just wanted to tell you why the number was out of order. I feel like that's an important thing to know. So I've got these stuck down on, I'm using first off Bristol smooth cardstock. That is what I prefer to use. I've got my Distress inks, which have gotten a very big workout the last little bit of time. I've been stenciling a lot. And so they have been getting worn out in a good way. Love my Distress inks. And I'll I'll list the colors in the description. I used a bunch of colors, you can see. I wanted some bright, springy colors. And so now I'm moving to the first stencil. You can see in that top left corner, right above the paper, the number 1. So this is the stencil I'm using next, okay? Now you may need to mask off some of the areas. I taped my sides down because the stencil doesn't extend over the entire paper, and I don't want it to move, okay? And I don't want it to get too much on the sides, so if there's a little bit of paper showing, I am going to cover it, all right? So, but I am using my grip mat. This is from Diamond Press. It's on their website. It's also available, I think, at hsn.com. But I love it because it's really large. It fits on my big glass mat from Tonic Studios, and I have it turned upside down because I'm left-handed. And I like having the colors to my left, obviously. And so it's a little too large, the mat for my workspace, but it works great for this application. So, and they recommend for a grip mat to put it on a solid surface like this, like a glass mat. So it just works great. I cover it back up and then I put it away when I'm finished. So I'm kind of enjoying using it that way. Okay, so I know I'm rambling a little bit. I've got a lot of stenciling to do, and I didn't want to go too fast so you can't see anything. I kind of get in a hurry and I think, oh, nobody's going to want to watch this. And then they say, well, it's too fast. So I've sped it up a little bit, but you can see how my layers are starting to come together. All right, let me spend a second on this. You can watch here. You'll see when it has covered the previous layer of color. All right, and so I'm just seeing the white that I want to color. And I'm just going to make sure that I'm in position. I kind of slipped a little bit there before I press down. I'm going to press that down again, and then I will tape the sides a little bit, like I said. And that also, since it's not gripped on the side, it lets it lay flat and it's not kind of sticking up off the paper. All right. And again, I'm just switching amongst colors. I did go a little out of my comfort zone in terms of being a little bold and mixing some colors. I could do that with the stencil because they're separate little sections. So the colors are not blending together, which is great. So I could do a blue like this and it wouldn't turn into a big old mess. since it's not mixing into the pink. So I really like that feature on these stencils for sure. Okay, so I'm just layering this color on here. If there are any areas that I'm careless about, that I'm worried about me blending into, because I tend to be a very over blender, and I like to use these larger, I know there's some smaller products out there that I have around brushes, but I just had my larger blending foam here today. So that's why I'm being a little more careful, trying not to make a big old mess. I'm notorious for doing the whole thing and then at the very end getting lazy and not masking something off, and then the ink tool puts this nice harsh line on there that I have to either cut off or put some gemstones on there. So do your best to mask off if you need to, and don't be like me. Okay, that's just a tip. All right, and so now I'm going to go with a blue here, again, kind of working out of my comfort zone. I love color, but I tend to stick to the same shades, maybe monotone, but this one I'm really kind of going a little out of my element here, and I'm loving the results. So this one is Blueprint Sketch, a very bright blue that I love from Distress. And this is stencil number 3, which is really number 4 in our count. But again, start with the other one. And then I'm down to the last one, which has just a little bit of left of this butterfly at the bottom. And then there's a single butterfly that needs to be colored. And once I see that spot has covered, this stencil has covered the previous stenciled areas, then I can proceed. Okay. And this is the hard part, is I'm getting a lot of colors, but I'm starting to struggle with what color am I going to pick next? How bold am I going to go? So you're watching this unfold, because I'm standing there tapping my finger and thinking, do I really want to do this? Because if I don't like it, I'm going to have to do it again. But, be bold. All right, so that was the yellow, which finishes this one off. And then I'm going to I did find one of my little brushes. So there are some little brushes I know out there that I have in my craft stash too, that you can kind of do some detail work on these. And I went and found it because I wanted to put a secondary color and kind of blend it in on that edge, because my butterfly was a little too light and I wanted a little tiny bit more to it. So I dug up one of my little small brushes and for blending, and just went around and added that extra little bit on there. Okay. So I will say, after all of that, I ended up being super happy with this panel, this butterfly stencil. I think it looks great. It's very colorful. It's exactly what I wanted. So I'm so happy that I stuck with it, although there's always a good chance that it doesn't work out. But, you can always try again. I'm adding this panel to a piece of pattern paper from Pink and Main that was in a previous card kit. And then I used this cute sentiment from Picket Fence Studios. Thank you for thank you for your friendship throughout these many years. And I know who I'm going to give this to. I've got a good friend who's moving, and this card will definitely go to her. I'm going to miss her desperately. And so I'm so excited for her, but I'm definitely going to miss her. And then I'm just going to take a little foam here and add this to the back to pop this up. But I'm keeping it pretty simple. I'm really letting these butterflies be the star of this. Okay. So this is the card that I made. Now let's talk about what didn't work initially. Here's the second one that I made that did work when I switched up the stencil order, and this is the first one. And look it's just a hot mess. Nothing really worked on that. And so again, I moved number 5 to the first position, and this is the results. These are the results that I had. Okay. So it worked a lot better to do that. So that's just my feedback. If you're interested in these stencils, they've got a bunch of them in store. And I'm going to try and do a few more videos with them and see if there's any other concerns like this and others. But thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a great day.